I know I just made a video roasting that Papa John's Barcelona fan. I know I just basically made a video saying how Barcelona is $1 billion in debt and they don't have the money and they can't register players. But I am happy because Barcelona have signed Anthony Gordon over Bayern Munich. And this is great news because Anthony Gordon chooses Barcelona over Bayern. And in my opinion, although I said I trust Eberl and I trust company with the players they want, I truly do believe this is a good thing for Bayern. We avoided Anthony Gordon. The price tag was ridiculous, and there are players out there for us to go and look at to buy. I know if you clicked on the video, there's a guy on the thumbnail. Hear me out. When we get to him, just hear me out. Just keep an open mind. I'm not saying we should, but keep an open mind. Hear me out. We'll get there when we get there. But Anthony Gordon chooses Barcelona over Bayern. He signs for Barcelona around 70 million euros plus 10 million add-ons. We're going to talk about all the details. Fabrizio tweeted, it's here we go. Done, sealed, signed, and delivered. And I truly do believe you guys, this is not cope. Although, by the way, where's Barcelona getting the money? They're spending 80 million on Gordon. They've got to spend 100 million plus on Julian Alvarez. They want to bring in 2 defenders. They want to bring in João Pedro. Where's this money coming from? They still owe us money for Lewandowski. I maintain that point. But anyway, Barcelona gets him for 70 million euros plus 10 million add-ons. And this is a good thing for Bayern because we can do better. And I just said Barcelona's, I don't know. Barcelona, congrats. Enjoy your player. I'm sure Hansi Flick, although I always believed Hansi Flick didn't have the best talent ID and the best idea of what players to choose, I'm sure he will go and make use of Gordon. They could enjoy him as an 80 million euro, 70 million euro bench player. That is the main reason why I wanted Bayern to avoid Gordon. This is the main reason I wanted Bayern to avoid Gordon because we wanted to bring him in as competition. By the way, this is just a tweet by Fabrizio Romano. Anthony Gordon to Barcelona is a done deal for 70 million fixed fee plus 10 million euro add-ons. Bayern will turn to alternatives as they look to sign a winger this summer. Good. We needed alternatives. We didn't. Newcastle, if we wanted to buy Anthony Gordon, Newcastle was going to expect this money. By no means should we have been dropping this kind of cash on someone who would be coming in to be Luis Diaz's side chick, on a guy that would be coming in to give Luis Diaz rest. No. And although I like Gordon, he did have a poor season in the Premier League. He just doesn't have, he has the work rate, he has the pressing and everything, but he doesn't have the skill level of a Bayern winger. He doesn't have Luis Diaz's dribbling, or he doesn't have Luis Diaz's, maybe he does have Luis Diaz's finishing, but he doesn't have Luis Diaz's dribbling and creativity on the ball. He doesn't have Michael Olise's creative ability and consistently, his consistency in scoring goals outside the box and cutting onto his, he doesn't have that. He would have been a good squad player, don't get me wrong, but for this price, Bayern avoided, and Barcelona saved Bayern here. Barcelona saved Bayern from an Anthony Gordon disaster class. So I'm sure Hansi Flick has his uses for him. Again, just like Bayern, he's going to be a bench player at Barcelona. Yes, they have injury issues, but when everyone's fit at Barcelona, what, Gordon is going to play striker? I know sometimes Gordon can play through the middle, but Rafinha is on your left, Lamine Yamal is on your right. Gordon absolutely is no number 10, and he's absolutely not your number 1 striker, number 9, which is why Barcelona wants to sign Julian Alvarez this summer. It looks like that deal is going to get through and done if Barcelona can cough up 100 million plus euros. So they paid this much for a bench player. Again, I think Barcelona got scammed here. I'm not coping. Genuinely, I think Barcelona got scammed here. But now that we avoided the Anthony Gordon thing, we got to move on to the alternatives, you guys. And it's so funny because we had this conversation. How many videos did I make last summer? Last summer, it was in regards to Florian Wirtz. I was unsure about us wanting to pay 150 million euros for Florian Wirtz. I said we should go and look at alternatives and use that money on alternatives. And I spent all summer talking about Nico Williams, Rafael Leao, Lookman, this player, that player, Gakpo, Luis Diaz, blah, 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 blah. We're back talking about wingers again and who we should spend our money on. And we're going to go through some alternatives. And the number one thing I want to drill home here, the number one thing you have to remember, guys, for the winger position, the winger that Bayern want to sign, they need to be willing to be a squad player, but also have the ability to challenge a Luis Diaz, challenge of Michael Olise for their starting spot if Luis Diaz and Michael Olise are not performing. They have to be willing to be a squad player, but they have to have that potential. They have to have that quality to come in and perform when those guys are not. So you can't just bring in a bum winger that's happy to be at Bayern. Yay, I'm at Bayern. I'm a journeyman. I'm happy to just sit on the bench and warm it up for my king Luis Diaz and my king Michael Olise. No. We need to bring in a guy, perfect blend of experience, perfect blend of quality, perfect blend of youth and desire to battle every day on the training pitch and push the starters to perform better, push the starters to keep performing, and then also be there to give the starters rest. And when they get their minutes, they perform. And I have a list of players here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players as an example of players that we could get for this role and way cheaper. That's another thing. We can't just go out and spend, like I said, 70, 80 million on a guy who's supposed to be a squad player, bench player to push the starting 11 to be better. No. This is a type of player. Now, in today's market, you have to spend at least probably 40, 50, 30, 40, 30 to 50 million on this kind of player. But there are players out there. There are options out there. Anthony Gordon was not that guy. Now, who knows? If he signed for Bayern, would he have cooked under company? And were Ebrel and Vasson company seeing something I didn't see with Luis Diaz? Possibly. But even if he were to come to Bayern and perform as a squad player, that 70 million plus 10 million add-on 80 million bullshit was not ever going to be worth it. And there are players out there that we could be looking at to improve this team, to find that profile winger squad role, quality squad role player that we need. Let's talk about the first guy who did not have the best of seasons, last year for Leipzig, but Antonio Nusa. He's 21 years old, tons of quality. Did he end up getting outshined by a guy like Yan Diomande this season? Absolutely. Absolutely. But he's still 21 years old. This kid is quality. This is one of the guys I was pushing Bayern to sign last year. And maybe even that was a little premature because I don't think Antonio Nusa could have came to Bayern and done what Luis Diaz has done. But now with Luis Diaz here, this is like a perfect player to bring in for Bayern. 21 years old, skillful, fast, up and down, left winger, can score goals, can dribble. Tons of potential there, tons of untapped potential there with Antonio Nusa. Tons of untapped potential there with this youngster. Norwegian international, contract up in 2029. You can get him for a good price. You could get him for probably 50 million, under 50 million. I know right there for his transfer value, it says 47 million. But given the season he just had, and his contract ends in 2.5, 3 seasons, you can go get this guy for 50 million or less. This is a quality player. I've seen him play in the Bundesliga many, many times. He is quality. There is potential there. And at a team like Bayern, I'm sure his quality would even improve. He would look even better in a team like Bayern, and training every day with the best players in the world would make him better. Antonio Nusa is just one example right off the bat of a player that Bayern should be looking at to bring in for this squad role they have. Hear me out. Now, this one isn't realistic, but not for the reasons you're thinking. This one isn't realistic because Mason Greenwood is a right-sided player. And we already have Olise, and we already have that competition or backup for Olise on the right side with Lennart Carl. We do. So that is the biggest reason why Mason Greenwood doesn't work. And he would, out of all the options on this list, actually, he would probably be the most expensive because he just had an incredible season in Ligue 1. How many goals and assists did he have this season? He one of the basically Marseille star man, 16 goals, 7 assists, 29 games started. He had an incredible season for Marseille. He's picking himself up. He's picking his career back up. Now, obviously, number one thing people think about with Mason Greenwood is what happened 4 years ago. The thing with his then girlfriend, now I think it's his wife or their fiance, and they have like 2 kids together. I understand. I was not on Mason Greenwood's side. I'm not a Mason Greenwood apologist. But guys, I'm sorry. In this world, there are people that have done millions of worse things and they still have careers, and we listen to their music. And Michael Jackson just got a whole nother biopic and his music is hitting all the top 100 charts again. And that guy did things with minors, did things with children, most likely. So don't act like you're on your high horse or you care. We don't care. That happened. He's with that girl now with a kid, and they seem happy. So it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm looking from the footballing perspective. He's an incredible player. This is another player that we can sign. But honestly, out of the players I'm going to look at, this is probably the least likely because we don't need that right-sided guy. We don't necessarily need that right-sided guy, but there are guys out there again. He is a better player than Gordon. He had a better season than Gordon. He has more potential than Gordon. This is a guy that team should be looking at, but with that baggage he has from a couple years ago, people aren't. Because if he didn't have that baggage, he has a value of 58 million. If he didn't have what happened behind him, he would be a 90 million player. I guarantee you his transfer value would be 90 million right now as a Marseille player. That's just the truth. That's just the truth. But yeah, Mason Greenwood is just another option. Goal scoring winger, can create. Yeah, that's just, yeah, whatever. Let's move on to another guy. Kevin Schade, 24 years old, didn't make the German World Cup team, but he has been getting called up here or there. He is a German international. His contract ends in 2028 with Brentford. He is 24 years old. He's not specifically in his prime. Valued at around 50 million. He is a left-sided player. He is a left-sided player. He defends a lot. In that Brentford system, he does his defending. He bombs up and down the left side, and guess what, guys? Guy scores goals. This season wasn't his best. Last season in the Premier League, he got, 14 goals in the Premier League? This season, he got 8 goals and 3 assists, but he started 32 games for Brentford, so he has immense experience. He has immense experience under his belt at Brentford, 24 years old. I think this is a guy who's now getting call-ups for the German national team, who's ready to take the next step, and taking that next step to a Bayern. And being a squad player, being there to fight for your place in the starting 11 and be competition to Luis Diaz, this is, for me, a no-brainer. This is another player where I think, Max Eberl, you should be calling this guy. You should be looking at him seriously because he has 2 years left on his contract. I know his transfer valuation there is 56 million. He's more of like you can get Kevin Schade for 45 million. You can get that deal done, realistically. You can. So, again, another player that we can be looking at, that we could be signing. Left-sided player, fits even more than a Mason Greenwood. Antonio Nusa, also a left-sided player, but the thing I'll say about Antonio Nusa is he doesn't necessarily defend as much as a Kevin Schade. Kevin Schade has that attacking and defensive profile that obviously not Hansi Flick, Vincent Kompany, and Max Eberl are looking for in this Bayern team to add on. Another guy that everyone's raving about in Germany, Said Almala, 19 years old, left-sided player, just had 13 goals and 4 assists as a 19-year-old in the Bundesliga for Köln. Köln, a team that was absolute ass this season. He was the guy, 6 feet tall. Again, defensively, I need to see more. I don't know if he's specifically that hardworking defensive player like a Luis Diaz, but this guy is a future German starter at the left wing. He absolutely is. The quality, he dunked on Bayern in the last match day of the Bundesliga, literally dribbled from 60 yards out of the goal and scored. His contract runs to 2030, so he would garner maybe a higher transfer value than what the transfer value there says. But this is a player where strike before the iron is hot. Europe isn't looking at Said Almala. Europe doesn't even know who this guy is, but we do as Bayern fans. People who watch the Bundesliga know who Said Almala is. This is a guy that Bayern should sign. If it's not now, in a year, 2 years. But we should strike now. Bring him in as a youngster. Bring him in. It's like the Tom Bischoff, the winger Tom Bischoff. We brought Tom Bischoff on. He was a starter at Hoffenheim. Tom Bischoff came to Bayern knowing that I'm not going to be a starter. I'm here to be a squad player and get minutes whenever I can and challenge for a starting place. Said Almala just got to come to Bayern, come with the same mentality as a Tom Bischoff, and this man will eventually impress the team, impress Vincent Kompany, impress the Allianz Arena, and cement himself as a certified future starter at FC Bayern München, just like Tom Bischoff is trending to do right now. Another one, Bradley Barcola. More expensive because of his name, because he plays at PSG. I don't think he's this much. I think if a team were to buy Bradley Barcola, you're looking at like a 60 million fee. maybe even less. Maybe even less, because he's not the star guy. He's a bench player at PSG. He is when everyone is fit, he's a bench player at PSG. But again, 11 goals in Liga this season. The only thing I'd say about Bradley Barcola, he's just an option because he's an incredible dribbler. This guy's fast and he dribbles like hell. He dribbles like hell. He does do his defensive work, maybe not as much as Luis Diaz, but he can dribble. He has style. But the number one thing that puts me off of Bradley Barcola, although I am putting him out there as an option, is the fact that he has Leroy Sané finishing. This guy has Leroy Sané finishing. He's the French Leroy Sané. That's the only thing. Now, he's 23 years old. Would we want to take a risk and say we can improve his finishing at Bayern? Maybe. But again, he's one of the more expensive. He's probably the most expensive player on this list if we were to get him. But again, another option, a player who I think has more talent and ability than an Anthony Gordon. So again, we dodged a bullet with Anthony Gordon, and there's players like this out there. And then another player, the last player before we end this video, guys. This one is a player I've only recently become familiar with because he got excluded from the Dutch team, and I saw a bunch of people, not the Dutch team, sorry, the Belgian team. He plays in the Dutch league. He plays for Ajax in the Eredivisie. But he was excluded from the Belgium team this summer at the World Cup, and I saw a bunch of uproar, and I'm like, who is this kid? Why is everyone hyping him up? He plays on the left side for Ajax, 17 goals and 12 assists in the Eredivisie. Now, say what you want about the Eredivisie. That's for a 20-year-old kid. That is an impressive return, and I watched his clips. Now, have I watched full games from him? No. To see what he does off the ball, defensively, how he links up with teammates, what does his passing and consistency of play look like throughout a game? No. But I've seen the clips. The kid has skill. If this is the guy we brought in, I'd absolutely be happy. Look at his. Again, I don't think Europe is really looking at him. Europe really isn't looking at him. Again, 20 years old. He'd come to Bayern knowing I'm not going to be a starter. I'm here to be a squad player. Similar role to as what I just said with Said Al-Mala. This would be another top signing. This would be another top signing. So there are options out there. You guys, I easily just gave you 6. Probably if you're still watching, you're thinking, Okage, there's this guy, there's that guy in the Premier League, there's this guy in La Liga, there's this guy in South America, yada, yada, yada. Exactly. It plays into my point. We dodged a bullet with Anthony Gordon. There are players out there to fit the profile we need, the squad role we need, with more quality than an Anthony Gordon, and who can be bought for cheaper than an Anthony Gordon. So as much as maybe he fit the role and the style and the vision of a Vincent Kompany Ebrel, I think we dodged a bullet for their own sake. They dodged a bullet, even though they might not feel like it, and they might be disappointed that we missed out on him, and they will eventually come up with a solid alternative in the summer. If it's one of those players, that'd be cool. Out of the 6 players I told you, my top 4, I think the 2 that are really unrealistic, Mason Greenwood for the position thing, and Bradley Barcola because his finishing, and he would be the most expensive player. But bro, an Antonio Nusa, a Kevin Schade, a Said Al-Mala, a Mika Götze, quality right there that fit into the role. All left-sided players as well. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. It's been your boy Hokage. Are there any players out there that I should be looking at, that Bayern should be looking at? Let me know. But yeah, let me know if you also believe we dodged a bullet with Anthony Gordon. I think everyone would agree. That price tag was absolutely ridiculous. So good luck to Barcelona. Have fun with Commissioner Gordon from Batman. We will be getting that quality, cheaper, and better alternative this summer. Vincent Kompany and Max Eberl, get to work, talk to each other, and let's get these deals going. Summer window almost open in Germany, you guys. It's been your boy Hokage Puyo. Like the video, subscribe if you're new. Again, leave your comments and thoughts down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.